Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the stall mechanic in Rocket League. It's a pretty high level mechanic, but lets you pull off some crazy shots. Here are a couple clips of Evampel. He's a freestyler who puts out consistent montages using the stall. And following that, we have Gainer, hitting 15 stalls to set a world record. So in this video, we're going to learn some tips and tricks so that it's easier for you to perform these kinds of shots. Just a little warning before we get into this. This mechanic will probably not help you rank up. There are way better mechanics that you can be working on. This is really more for freestyling. But hey, you know, if you already know how to half flip, have speedy wave dashes, hit easy double touches, can lay some smooth air dribbles into the back of the net, score slightly musty ceiling shots, and make nutty flicks look like a breeze, then yeah, this could be the best thing for you. I broke this video into 3 sections. The first section covers the basics of how to do a stall and why it's so difficult. Section 2 covers how to make it a little bit easier on yourself using the Steam overlay. And Section 3 covers how to make it a lot easier on yourself by only needing to press one button without any Steam overlay changes. Sorry if you're a console player, but then only the first point will apply to you. Step 3 doesn't require any Steam changes, but still requires a PC. Section 1 is going to cover the basics of stalling. If you want more details or how to train the stall, Sir Classy just made a great video covering all of that. So here are the basic steps. You need to be able to jump, air roll right, and turn left at the same time. You can also air roll left and turn right. It really doesn't matter which way you go. I have air roll left on square, air roll right on circle, and jump on X. The first step is to perform a tornado spin with air roll left and turning right. Once you do that, just jump. If performed properly, your car should float for a second, but it's hard to perform properly. If you're not perfectly aligned, left or right, on your joystick, then you'll end up flipping. So how does Evampel hit so many consistent stalls? Well, first is a lot of practice. Second is he's on a mouse and keyboard. Using a keyboard to stall is much easier than a controller. This is because your turns are input as digital signals instead of analog signals. This is how we'll change our controller in Section 3. Using the same steps, I air roll with Q or E and turn in the opposite direction. Now, normally I play on a controller, but let's see if I can hit some shots like Evampel. I don't know how to turn on ball cam. Okay, let's go up the wall and try again. So, I need an easier way to stall with a controller. This is how Section 2 came to be. Here's how you can change your dead zones with Steam to make stalling easier. First, open your controller settings and select your controller type. I used a PS4 controller, but you can use an Xbox one. Second, go to Rocket League, right-click, open Properties, then change Steam Input per Game Settings to Use Your Global Steam Input Settings. Finally, right-click on Rocket League, go to Manage, then Controller Configuration. Here, you'll want to edit your left analog stick controls. Yours will probably look a little different, but I've already changed my controls. So go down to Additional Settings. Then we're going to change our dead zone shape. We want to pick the cross. The cross shape allows us to hold a primary direction, up, down, left, or right, without 100% perfect alignment. Exactly what we're looking for. Next, you adjust your dead zone inner and dead zone outer to whatever you feel comfortable with. The larger the zone, the easier it is to hold left or right, but the harder it is to go diagonal. You'll probably feel a little bit off and might have to experiment a little. but eventually you'll be scoring again. This helped me a lot, but I was still getting the occasional side flip. That's when I found mittens. Mittens can hit stalls on a controller by only hitting circle. This is how I started section 3. This required some research. Mittens uses another Steam overlay trick, but I found this Reddit post that talks about updating a file on your PC. I think this is going to be important when Rocket League switches over to the Epic Games Store and doesn't use the Steam overlay anymore. This method should still work. Here are the steps to update your inputs so that you can install on a controller using only one button. I'm going to go a little fast, so feel free to pause the video at any time if you need to catch up. The first step is to find your Rocket League game folder. From there, we're going to navigate into TA Game and Config. We're going to update the TA input file. Our very first step though is to copy it and paste it somewhere so that we can have a backup. If anything goes wrong, we'll just take the backup, rename it to TA input, and drop it in here. Worst case scenario, you might have to uninstall and reinstall the game. Now, we're going to open up the file and get ready to make some code changes. This lists all of the inputs. We're going to navigate down to gamepad bindings. You'll notice all the controls are listed as Xbox type. It doesn't really matter that we have PS4 as long as we know which button corresponds to which. So I make a couple of new lines so that way we have room to work. The first control I'm going to move is the jump control. I'm going to copy that and paste it right down in our space. I'm going to format it a little bit just so it's easier to read. It's important to note that there are spaces after the comma and after the word true and before the word action. Those spaces are important. Now, I want to be able to stall with my circle button, which is B on an Xbox controller. So now, pressing circle will cause my car to jump. Next, I'm going to take the air roll right input. Copy that, and paste it right after our jump. Now, it's unbound, so I'm going to add a key to it, and the rest of the code. I make sure that it's on B, and that we have spaces in the right location. Now, since I'm air rolling right, I need to be able to turn left. So I go up, and I find y'all left. I copy this line of code with Control C, and paste with Control V. Format this so it's a little bit easier to read. Take the same key bindings, and we actually don't need this axis sign or remappable, so we're going to paste over those. And be careful to make sure the spaces are in the right location. And now we have jump, air roll right, and y'all left, all on B. So one thing to note is that this is the list of default controls. B is normally boost. Personally, I play with boost on the right bumper, which is the right shoulder of an Xbox. So I want to move that onto boost. So that way I'm not, stalling and boosting at the same time. Normally R1 is push to talk, but that doesn't really work, so we don't need that bound to anything. One thing you might want to do here is update all of your controls if you have a lot of changes. Otherwise, you can just update them in the game. And the last thing we're going to do is go to File and Save. Now we'll try it out in the game. Now that we're back in the game, you're going to want to go to Options, Controls, View/Change Bindings, and set them back to your default. Exit out of that, and now we can test it out. And just by jumping and then hitting B or circle, you can see that it installs the car every time. It's way more consistent. You can drive around, you can jump, you can stall. Normally when you're doing a ceiling shot, you're upside down. You can see jump, turn, stall. I guess let me see if I can try to hit something here. Okay, so in training, R1, which is my boost, is also set to reset the ball, reset the shot. So I'm going to go through, change my controls real quick. Now my controls are back to normal, except for circle is still stall. So I'll hit it around a little and let you guys know what I can get. Shots were pretty much as good as I could get. I hit the ball around for about 20 minutes. I was able to stall and get a flip reset a couple of times, but hitting the ball after the flip reset didn't really happen. It still takes a ton of practice. Well, that concludes the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like if you learned something new, and let me know if you hit any crazy clips using this mechanic. Thanks!